Hello again, this is Dr. Tushar Shah for Ek Dose Gyan, Ek Dose Muskan. This is the 5th episode. In this episode, recorded on the 16th of February 2021, we compare and contrast two pairs of diseases. The first pair is vestibular neuritis and Bell's palsy, and the second pair is systolic heart failure and diastolic heart failure. The first pair let's take as vestibular neuritis and Bell's palsy. We all can diagnose BPPV easily, benign paroxysmal positional vertigo. The patient comes with severe rotational vertigo and increases on turning in bed, and the vertigo lasts only for a few seconds. As soon as the position is stabilized, the vertigo disappears. We can also fairly easily diagnose Meniere's disease. It comes with vertigo again, but this vertigo lasts for hours. It is associated with tinnitus, with deafness, and with oral fullness. That's Meniere's disease. It has recurrent episodes. Then there is central vertigo, meaning vertigo due to brainstem affliction. This vertigo is typically associated with severe truncal ataxia. Patient tends to fall down and imbalance is in the trunk. And then there is vertigo due to vestibular neuritis. Vestibular neuritis vertigo is different from the vertigo of other diseases in that it is a longer lasting vertigo. It lasts for hours, days and weeks. We all have diagnosed multiple cases of Bell's palsy. That's an easy diagnosis, but the more difficult diagnosis is that of vestibular neuritis. As you know, Bell's palsy is a 7th cranial nerve affection. Vestibular neuritis is an 8th cranial nerve affection. The 8th cranial nerve, as you know, is the vestibulocochlear nerve. The vestibular part of this nerve controls balance. The cochlear part controls hearing. Vestibular neuritis is called vestibular neuronitis by some people. And if the cochlea is also involved, then it's called labyrinthitis. These are the terms used for vestibular neuritis. Vestibular neuritis principally presents as vertigo, and it is estimated that 5% of all cases of vertigo have vertigo due to vestibular neuritis. And we all probably miss these cases. So let us discuss how to diagnose vestibular neuritis, and then we will make comparisons between Bell's palsy and vestibular neuritis so that our recall increases. Vestibular neuritis is a disabling vertigo. Patients are miserable. They have a lot of nausea, a lot of vomiting, and imagine having continuous vertigo for hours, days, sometimes weeks. An easy way to diagnose vestibular neuritis is to look at the nystagmus. It has a characteristic nystagmus with the fast component moving away from the side of affection of the neuritis. That brings us to the comparison between Bell's palsy and vestibular neuritis. Both Bell's palsy and vestibular neuritis are basically neuropathies of cranial nerves. Both are caused most likely by viruses. The virus most implicated in both is herpes simplex virus type 1. Both diseases have sudden onset. Both are almost always unilateral. Both last for weeks to months. Both resolve spontaneously even without treatment most of the times. In both diseases, steroids have been found to have proven benefit. Steroids increase the resolution. In both diseases, antiviral drugs like acyclovir have been tried but have no real proven benefit. And both diseases come to our OPD once in a while. So I hope that this will make you diagnose vestibular neuritis more often. Thank you, and we go to the next set of comparisons. The next pair of diseases that we compare and contrast are systolic heart failure and diastolic heart failure. We in our clinics find it very easy to diagnose systolic heart failure because the echocardiogram shows a reduced left ventricular ejection fraction in a patient who has symptoms of failure. But diastolic heart failure is less commonly diagnosed by us, even though it is an equally common entity. So let's first discuss these terms. Systolic heart failure is now called heart failure with reduced ejection fraction, and diastolic heart failure is now called heart failure with preserved ejection fraction. In diastolic heart failure, failure occurs because the left ventricular end diastolic pressures are high because of the stiffness of the left ventricle. It doesn't dilate properly during diastole, causing back pressure. Systolic heart failure, as you know, is due to reduced ejection fraction caused by, say, a myocardial infarction or a cardiomyopathy. What are the causes of diastolic heart failure? Three important reasons why patients are more prone to diastolic heart failure. 1, obesity. 2, aging. And 3, probably the most important, long-standing high blood pressure. These three factors promote or cause diastolic heart failure. The symptoms of both systolic and diastolic heart failure are similar. There is dyspnea, there is fatigability, there is edema. Signs are also similar. There are signs of left heart failure or congestive cardiac failure. Atrial fibrillation occurs in both but is more common in diastolic heart failure. Amongst investigations, the most important investigation, of course, is the echocardiogram. In heart failure with preserved ejection fraction, you have to have an ejection fraction of 50% or more. Below 50% becomes reduced ejection fraction. The other investigation that is very important in heart failure is the NT-proBNP, the brain natriuretic peptide. As you know, heart failure causes an elevation of this. But in systolic heart failure, it is elevated much more commonly than in diastolic heart failure. So how do you diagnose in your OPD diastolic heart failure, or a better term, heart failure with preserved ejection fraction? A patient comes to you with dyspnea. You examine the patient. There is some edema. There is probably atrial fibrillation. The patient is a long-standing hypertensive, patient is obese, patient is old. Your diagnosis is easy. You do the echocardiogram. If the ejection fraction is 50% or more, you probably have diagnosed correctly diastolic heart failure. Your job is to refer the patient, of course, to a cardiologist. If you have a dyspnea patient who does not have features of heart failure, no crepitations, no edema of feet, but the patient is elderly and has dyspnea on exertion, the commonest thoughts that come to your mind is, of course, anemia and general debility. But you should not miss diastolic heart failure if the patient is hypertensive and obese. For that, the first test that you do is an ECG. Look for atrial fibrillation. If atrial fibrillation is present, the diagnosis becomes more likely. And if you do an echocardiogram and find pulmonary hypertension in a patient with preserved ejection fraction, again the diagnosis of diastolic heart failure comes to mind. And if the BNP or NT-proBNP are high, then you can more confidently diagnose diastolic heart failure. The treatment of diastolic and systolic heart failure are different in some ways, and I will not go into details of this because even cardiologists are still debating the treatments. But one thing is for certain, diuretics are useful in diastolic heart failure and systolic heart failure. ACE inhibitors are useful in both, and beta blockers are to be avoided in diastolic heart failure. Sacubitril and valsartan so far have not been approved in diastolic heart failure. So there are some differences between the two, and we will let the cardiologists treat the failure once we have diagnosed it. Thank you so much. We go on to मुस्कान. आपने मीराबाई का वो भजन सुना होगा जिसमें she compares herself with Lord Krishna, the person she loves. तुम भये मोती प्रभु जी, हम भये धागा, तुम भये सोना, हम भये सुहागा. A similar comparison is in the film Sati Savitri, a song sung by Manna Dey and Lata Mangeshkar. तुम गगन के चंद्रमा हो, मैं धरा की धूल हूँ. तुम प्रणय के देवता हो, मैं समर्पित फूल हूं। अब आज के युग में अगर कोई आधुनिक प्रेमी अपनी तुलना अपनी प्रेमिका के साथ करता है तो क्या कहेगा कि तुम पाली हिल का पेंट हाउस माय लव, मैं धारावी की खोली, तुम फ्री किक रोनाल्डो की, मैं मोहन बगान का गोली, तुम वायग्रा, मैं नींद की गोली, तुम मरीच जिसे राम ने मारा, मैं सलमान का मारा हिरन, तुम दिलीप कुमार की अनारकली, मैं शाहरुख की किरण, तुम डेमोक्रेट, मैं रिपब्लिकन। एंड द कंपैरेटिव स्टडी कंटिन्यूज। प्रेमी कहता है कि तुम वेगस का कसिनो माय लव और मैं मुंबई का मटका, तुम आसमान से हो उतरी, मैं हूं खजूर में अटका, तुम वैक्यूम क्लीनर, मैं फटका, तुम दायां गाल हो प्रीति जिंटा का, मैं ललिता पवार की आंख बाई, तुम डिजाइनर मैं दर्जी, तुम शेफ मैं बावर्ची, तुम हेयर स्टाइलिस्ट मैं नाई, तुम डेप्थ मैं चौड़ाई। और अगर ये प्रेमी मेडिकल फ्रेटर्निटी से हो तो ये कंपैरेटिव पोएम कैसे पढ़ेगा? तुम गृहस्थी लालू प्रसाद की, तुम गृहस्थी लालू प्रसाद की, मैं राहुल का कंट्रोल, तुम चरण पादुका राम की, मैं फ्लैट फुट का इंसोल, तुम च्यवनप्राश, मैं इसबगोल, तुम ऋतिक की सिक्स्थ फिंगर माय लव, तुम ऋतिक की सिक्स्थ फिंगर माय लव, मैं इन ग्रोइंग टो नेल, तुम कैशलेस CABG, मैं कैटरैक्ट बिल्ड इन ब्रेल, तुम इंसुलिन पंप, मैं स्लाइडिंग स्केल। और अब आखिरी 3 पंक्तियां। इस कविता को मैंने 30 साल पहले लिखा था और अभी अभी एक डोज ज्ञान एक डोज मुस्कान के लिए थोड़ा सा मॉडिफाई किया है। तो 3 पंक्तियां आखिरी ये है कि तुम वायरल वेक्टर वैक्सीन माय लव, मैं SARS-CoV-2, तुम घने बालों की उलझी लट, मैं लट में उलझी जू, तुम जकूजी, मैं लू। शुक्रिया और चलते हैं, लौट के मिलते हैं।